dudes, here is AngryGrandpa. Today we're gonna start a series, the series of which tank it's the best at its tier and also by its type. So we're gonna start just from tier 5 because what's below tier 4 doesn't seems to be very well. There are some of them which are fun, but the tier 5 is like the beginning of special tanks, you know. So we're gonna start today with AFV. Next time we're gonna speak about mobile battle tanks, then SPGs, then light tanks, and then TDs, and then we're gonna go to tier 6, tier 7, 8. We will gonna speak about each one, and we're gonna speak about how the tanks they perform and how they are. Right now, as you may see, right now I spotted some tanks. I'm not spotted. If I'm spotted, you're gonna see an eye. The moment I activate the ability, which is radar, it keeps the enemy like on track. And as you may see on the mini map, I've already spotted from the beginning. But as you may see right now, I can see like some of them tanks are spotted, and you see another one is spotted. So the tank itself is really nice. The only downside is that it has just the machine gun, and it has 180 penetration, which is fine. Damage just 40. Tier 5, and I think the maximum damage it is like that I've done over 10,000 and something like this. So now I'm spotted. When it comes to shooting, I would have liked to have like unlimited clip. Here we have just 60 by 60. So the moment you shoot, let's say some shells, you may see that right now I'm at 46 out of 60, which is nice. And another thing that I like at this small AV, it is that the reloading time, it is really good, like in 1 second and something like this, 1 second 97. I can say it's fun, but don't let's say don't be very aggressive with it, because it's an AFV, it's not a medium, and not many mediums in this game have their turrets or AFVs change, you know, the turrets. Basically the turret is the same, just the gun, tracks, other things in the tank, it's other one is premium. The non-premium one has some small buffs, let's say like this. Maybe the gun, maybe the rocket launchers. So this small AV, which is very small, has, so I'm already spotted. It's not a good tank for spotting. Not even for coming close to the enemy. It is very fast. I really like that the clip is like the half of the maximum ammo, which is 900 by 900. Reloading time is faster than even Francine de la Roche. It has two types of rocket launchers, well, two ATGMs. One is 430 by 550, and the other one it is 600 by 665. The difference between two of them, it is that one is cheaper, the other one it is expensive, and I slightly change sometimes when I, let's say, I encounter some enemies. So that's why sometimes I have two ATGMs or two types of projectiles and so on. The only downside with this one, it is that when you try to aim an enemy or something like this on the move, you cannot do it like with other, let's say, not always can hit the target, you know. But when it comes to the gun, like playing very aggressive, you can do with this one. You can even wait, you can even, you know, make the enemy, let's say, cry. When it comes to the chassis itself, sometimes can bounce, not always. So I cannot promise you that you're gonna survive some shells. But mostly of the time with this tank I survived, and I end up doing a lot of damage, a lot of fire triggering on some tanks, and you have pretty much a lot of ammo than some other tanks in the game, which it is very unusual for such a small AFV. Mobility wise is very nice, it's very maneuverable, it's easy to to fight and play with it. It's one of the tanks that I think I play the most fights with him, keeping in mind that the BMP3 or the other one, it is really hard to obtain when you play with this tank especially, and I really enjoyed in the beginning. So the gun still has 900, half of the maximum ammo in one clip. It has just one type of rocket launchers, doesn't have any more than this, but it's not so fast, it's not so maneuverable, so it's a bit sluggish, which it means that it has some armor and you can fight and you can do some damage. The only downside it is that it doesn't have gun depression, doesn't exist in this tank. It has, as you may see, you see like, man, what the heck you're speaking about, but keep in mind the other BMP, the turret is in the front, which gives you more gun depression, but with this tank you have one thing, which is stability. You can shoot targets from the move, and you can still do some damage, but not that type of damage, because that's a rocket launcher. The reloading time is the same, so basically the same tank, same gun, a bit more stable, let's say like this, and a bit more armor than the previous one. The gun and everything is the same. The tank is fine, it's decent, can't say that it's like one of the best ones, but it's very decent. The moment I got it, trust me, when I was doing live stream, this tank was a pain in the ass, just because of the fact that mobility wise sometimes is nice, sometimes it isn't. This is an AFV that transports also soldiers, so it's not just for fighting purposes. It can be also like an infantry carrier or something like this. The only fact that I like at this one, it is that it's one of those AFVs that has on top of the turret a mounted rocket launcher or an ATGM. The smoke itself is also it's not on the chassis, it's on the turret, which is a big plus. Some AFVs don't have this on the turret, and ATGM is on top of the turret, which just gives you more opportunities. Some of them have the TGMs on the side of the turret, which is one of the most stupid ideas ever made, because when you want to come around the corner or something like this, you have to go with the entire vehicle around to shoot the rocket launcher from this position and the rocket launcher from this position, which it sucks. Mobility wise, it's not fast, it's slow. It's a tank made for just support, so stay in the back. The moment you get spotted, you're gonna get very fast wrecked. Armor wise, it isn't perfect. As I mentioned, this it isn't like one of those fast maneuverable ones. If you like slower tanks, the slower AFV, you can go with this one. Will it be nice to have just tracks, or 2 tracks and 2 wheels, or 4 tracks, you know, why not? Or no tracks at all. This one is different. It is a different tank. This tank, to be honest, should have had tracks. Should have had tracks, not wheels. When you put wheels, it means that you didn't have money to buy tracks. Like, come on, man. Armor wise, this tank can get some ricochets, can bounce some shells, not all of them, can promise that. It's still an infantry tank, an AFV that transports, people inside, because it's quite big. It doesn't need to be this big. The gun itself is something interesting. Penetration wise is 340 by 230, reloads in 3 seconds. The gun itself, it is very nice. This AFV is not made for spotting, it's not made for close combat, it's made just for sniping, guys. Do not go with him like in open fields and expect to be the Rambo of the team. No man, the moment you get spotted, even though you have a turret, even the front turret can be penetrated by machine guns and so on. Not one of the best, let's say, chassis, not one of the best armors and so on. It has a gun that can face up some mediums frontally, can do some sniping. You can play aggressive, you can go and reset and spare some HP because it has much more HP than some. This one has 1900. Sometimes don't ram with this tank, other tanks. As you saw, I've lost a bit of health. See, well, a bit more than what I want. Now this is a Humvee, if I'm not mistaken. It's a Humvee which has two pluses. You can play with the rocket launcher, an ATGM, and have two types of ATGMs. One that is 430 penetration for, let's say, cheap tanks, and one that is 630 for very tough tanks like mediums with side plates and side skirts and so on, you know. Or you can go to upgrade the moment you upgrade and change to an AFV, a typical AV, so not a tank destroyer. Basically, this tank in the past, some of you which played this game for a long time, if I'm not mistaken, tier 5 or tier 6 used to have a rocket launcher and a machine gun also. So this tank was a hell of a fun in the past. Then they come with, let's say, some complaints from some players, and they've changed and they separated in two vehicles. This vehicle is very fast. You can play very aggressive, keeping in mind that some turrets cannot change, like turn their turret very fast. The clip is quite limited. You have just 70 shells or 100 shells in one clip. It's very fast, very maneuverable. You can circle, you can make fun of the enemy. The reloading time is the same like the previous one, but like one of those BMPs in the beginning. You can kill a lot of tanks in a few seconds, a few minutes. Who knows how fast you are playing in. And it's very important with this vehicle to know your surroundings, because you have wheels, you go very fast. You may see, like I am going with by 75-80 kilometers an hour. It's very fast. If I'm not looking forward when I'm going, I can go like this, you know, and up and down, and then you're gonna get yourself injured or get yourself killed, because this vehicle doesn't have a lot of health. It's quite limited to health. You can get very easily killed by one rocket launcher, one high explosive. You can get set on fire. You can get your crew members knocked out. You don't always, let's say, do damage. You don't always can penetrate, and not always you can be like the top damage in your team, or at least to do something important. So with this vehicle, you really need to know the map very nice and very good, because the moment you shoot, you have 18 seconds. I don't know if you can see, you have 18 seconds, 0.72, put it 19 seconds until you're gonna next reload. You're gonna do like 635 damage, 760 damage, depends. You don't have to miss, so it's like a must to aim and shoot perfectly. Do not aim with this vehicle any fast tanks, like let's say if it comes a weasel very fast to you, a low very fast to you, or goes around the corner, or you want to spend your shells on small health like this. No, you have to spend your shells wisely, because you're low on ammo. You have to do a tremendous amount of damage and snipe, or sit very far behind the eyes of the enemy, and aim every time in certain places where you can do let's say tremendous amount of damage. The same maneuverability, everything, just the gun is changed and the tactics is changed. So you really need to know the map. You really need to practice in the polygon, as you may see right now, or in the testing area, to think and also try to think where you can do a tremendous amount of damage. Let's put it like this: we have two tanks which are nearly identical, just one is newer, one is older, and you want to hit, let's say I hit this one's area, which this is the engine compartment, ammo probably in this side, and so on. So let's go like this. So I've hit the engine, well, the fuel tank and tracks, so now he's burning. Yeah, if I'm gonna go now and hit the other one, let's reload now. I'm gonna aim like the front area. It's a sparkle, like you hit the ammo, so you really need to know where you should hit the enemy, even if it is PvE or PvP. Yeah, prepare yourselves, guys. Which one of this it's gonna be is VBL. Why? Because you have two play styles. If you have, let's say, a rough day and you want to chillax, you want to relax, you can play with rocket launchers. If you want to have some fun, if you're on hype, on Coke, Coca-Cola, not Coke, on caffeine or something, you have a lot of energy and you want to spend it very fast, you can go to upgrades, change the gun to, you know, AP, have fun, or you can play with this one the moment you know the tank very well.